Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition. It is the finals, day 3 of the League of Legends tournament. We got a great best of 3 for you. It's TMU Gold taking on UofT Sapphire. I'm Romeo, joined today by Saples. Wait, wow, Saples.
I appreciate going back for the second try. That's always a lot of effort. Effort is what pays off. And, there's going to be a lot of effort here for both of these teams here tonight as they are fighting over the lion's share of a $400 prize pool. So plenty of stakes to play for. $250 going to first place, only $100. So you're getting less than half here if you land second place. You're going to be gunning for number 1. And if you're not first, you might as well be last.
If you're not first, you might as well be last. And also, of course, you're going to be the CIE League of Legends 2026 champion, which is worth way more than cash value. Come on. That's what we're really fighting for.
Yep. Also, Toronto champions, right? These are 2 Toronto homegrown teams, Toronto University versus University of Toronto. We're going to call them Toronto Metropolitan to make things a little bit easier, but we'll leave that to when we get into these teams. Romeo, how about we talk about our first one that's coming up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at TMU Gold. Of course, their top laner expels, jungler, another ganker, Salt coming in for the mid lane, UofT at ADC, and Vravs at support.
Getting chills there. I love Vravs as a name, and their brand, might I say, is very exquisite. But without further ado, let's introduce the University of Toronto Sapphire. You've seen them plenty on the broadcast before. We've got Arky, Allen, not the alien, the Hollow One, Accept Defeat, and Siesta.
Oh, man. UofT Sapphire had an insane performance yesterday on the broadcast, taking down their A team in Ruby to get this spot against TMU Gold. And then I'm pretty sure TMU Gold is next to undefeated right now.
Yeah. Let's take a quick peek here at their stats. Right, it's actually TMU Gold are coming into this 3-0, and it's the Toronto Sapphire who have taken a loss here in the past. That's a surprising twist of events, turn of events.
Yeah, I believe they went 3-1 in the knockout stage, and then they also dropped a game to UofT Ruby yesterday in that best of 3 series, clutching it just barely. 3 very long games, very competitive and close games. But one thing about UofT Sapphire that we've seen in the stream is they're very, very good at just playing as aggressive as possible, to a fault sometimes. TMU Gold, on the other hand, they have gone dominant performance after dominant performance. You're seeing a lot of the mains here, not a ton of intersection between these two teams. I think one of the biggest picks that we've seen across this league, though, are the Kaisa pick and the Aurora pick have often been coming in large for these teams. For TMU Gold and UofT Sapphire personally, though, we have that Kiana both in Salt and Allen's pocket.
Yeah, that Kiana is a really big pickup. As one of your carry junglers, it is really lethal if they're able to get ahead. And even when they're playing at a neutral stance, if your team is very squishy, this Kiana is going to be able to dance around you with the support of the water, with support of the brushes, right? She's able to not only CC you, but also completely evade your vision and make life really hard for these ADCs, because this is what this game is going to be about. The series is going to really surround UofT and Accept Defeat and how they're going to be able to carry their teams through it, with a slight chance that we have a dark horse here coming out from Arky and Expels over in that top lane.
Yeah, and let's face it, one of the most exciting things that we're going to see in this game 1 is who these people are going to pick up and the play styles that are going to evolve from that draft. The only way to do that is by going to the draft. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. The game 1 draft, a lot on the line. This is going to set the tempo for what this series is going to be. Of course, a big win can give you momentum. A big loss can completely ruin it. And each of these teams are going to be vying for any advantage they can in this drafting phase. It looks like we're already getting our first ban out of the way. Jace going to be the first ban from TMU.
Getting our customary bans out of the way. A lot of targeting. This Rek'Sai ban over against TMU Bold's another ganker. Their top played character. So a little bit of BM there, but getting it out of the way early, especially in a Fearless series, is going to help you out in the longer term. Getting that brand out as well. Really shooting Vraves in the knees. But what I want to look ahead to, right, is past these bans. We've seen so much prio towards this bot side. I would not be surprised if we saw, an R2 or an R1 R2, like Ashe Seraphine or a Karma Varus, right? We're going to see those really strong combinations that are meant to bully your lane, and then you're going to try and snowball on further from that.
There's the Ashe that you were talking about. I also think I'd be interested to see a Kai'Sa pick up early. We know both these ADCs play Kai'Sa. We've seen Kai'Sa and Nico come out. We've seen Ezreal Nico come out on the UofT side. I believe Ashe Seraphine has been someone that's been pretty contested in this tournament as well. We've seen that combo run a couple of times across these matches. It looks like immediately we're stopping that Ashe Seraphine combo from coming out. UofT trying to take away that big support pick. The question is, what are they going to pair with it? Do you think it's going to be an Ezreal? Do you think what are you looking for with it?
I think Seraphine still has a lot of value as an enchanter, and to pair it with some of the more enchanter reliant ADCs would give them a lot more leeway, potentially a Yunara or a Sivir, or I wouldn't expect Jinx, because Jinx really likes to have somebody who is able to peel off of her, like one of those tank supports. But having an enchanter on the field, even when it's not one of those big broken combos, is going to do you a lot of good. And what I'm also expecting to see here a lot is to get some jungle prio, right? Are we potentially going to see one of those junglers get picked up in the first 3? Actually, it's an Orianna.
Orianna coming out. It's going to be an Ashe Karma, looking like it's going to be the thing that's facing them. I like the Orianna pick. It's a little interesting, though. I feel like when we look at the Hollow, it's not traditionally that Orianna pick. We did see it come out last night to some success.
Yeah.
But it feels like he tends to play those more aggressive mid laners. We're starting it off on a little bit of a softer note with that Orianna.
Yeah.
Last night, though, we've seen Bel'Veth come out. Bel'Veth came out with that Orianna, and we've seen a dominant performance coming on the back of Allen. Do you think we're pairing with another maybe carry jungler if we're going down Orianna Seraphine? Do you think we see it Xin or a Viego or something along those lines?
I think there's a lot of potential, but what I really want to see is a vessel for this Orianna ball to find its way into that backline to help extend the encore from Seraphine. I think that's really what you're looking for here. And Qiyana's a pretty good one, because like we mentioned before, you can just go invisible and you can hop on top of their backline, especially if you use your ultimate to push them against a wall. You're going to be able to do a lot of damage to them.
Yeah, one of the things I think is really interesting about the UofT Sapphires, with you mentioning that as well, outside of the synergy of these 3 laner, well, Orianna, Seraphine, Qiyana, it's a lot of picks that TMU also plays. Salt plays Qiyana, isn't going to be able to play it this series. Salt plays Orianna, isn't going to be able to play it this series. His other pick is Aurora, which we know already that Hollow plays. Probably going to be a B1 prio pick in the next draft, regardless of which way this goes, making it a lot more difficult for Salt's pool as we move through this best of 3 series. And then Seraphine taken away so that the Ashe doesn't get that synergy. Of course, I think the big issue we're seeing, though, with UofT Sapphire's team is the damage numbers at this moment are lacking. What do you want to see coming out of this 4th and 5th pick?
I do agree with you somewhat that the damage numbers are a little bit low, but they still haven't picked up their AD carry. So there is a lot of potential for it. We did mention some of the enchanter supported ones that really like it, like Yunara, like Sivir. But what I also really want to see from both of these teams that they're both lacking is some of that frontline durability, right? It doesn't have to be a full-on tank like Asante, but you got to at least have some of it to help be that frontline, because as soon as your back gets jumped on when you have a Seraphine or a Karma core, you're going to struggle to stay alive in these fights.
A lot of picks going through the mind. It looks like we're ending up on a Yunara. We haven't seen Yunara come out of Accept Defeat yet. This is going to be the first time we're seeing him play it at the CIE tournament. How do you feel about the Yunara Seraphine synergy in that bot lane?
I like it. Yunara is a very simple character who, once she gets her prayer beads online, she's able to do a lot of damage, but requires a little bit of ramp up. And the enchanter is going to be able to support that beautifully. Has some AP scalings as well in case you want to go Staff of Flowing Water. There's a lot of good cross synergy there.
Jarvan going to be the pickup from TMU here as they get an answer for their jungler. Ornn, the front line, very well-rounded team comp from TMU Gold. No complaints on their draft. And Bessa going to be the answer from UofT Sapphire. Give us a little bit of a rundown what that top lane matchup looks like for our viewers.
All right, you've got Mbessa. You all know her. Some of you might not love her, but she's going to be your lethality sometimes gets played a little bit of more of a bruiser style, but mostly lethality top laner. And her main job, right, when you put that character on Arky, you're expecting Arky to try and snowball this lane as far as possible. And this Ornn from Expels, right? You are going to try and delay things as long as possible. You want to scale, you want to get bonus value from your Forge passive. And realistically, that's the game plan here for a lot of what TMU Gold is going for. They want to go long, they want to extend this game to past 30 minutes, maybe even approaching 40, and then look for those big team fights as a conglomerate, and especially when your Karma has Shirelias, has a lot of extra shielding that she's able to provide to the team. You're going to be able to move as a really solid core, and your Ashe is going to become a really hard target here for this Qiyana or this Ambessa to access.
Yeah, I'm a little worried if you're a UofT Sapphire fan, just because I think like TMU's Gold's comp is so clear, it's so standard, very, very well drafted. I feel like UofT Sapphire fell in the trap of trying to prepare themselves to win games in like game 2 and 3 with like drafting away a lot of champions. But when it comes to this team comp, I'm like, I think Ambessa kind of messed up that R5 pick a little bit, where I know it's a comfortability and we've seen it pop off from Arky. I don't like the Ambessa Ornn matchup for Ambessa.
Yeah.
I feel like Ornn has a very easy time surviving those early levels, playing safe. And then when we get later into this game, Ornn's going to be a lot more useful than the Ambessa in the team fights. The only way I see TMU Gold really struggling is if they can get that Ashe super behind. If that Ashe falls behind, they lose so much of their damage potential.
Yeah, and those are the big tempo picks you're expecting from a Qiyana. She's skipping a lot of her early weak levels. You're going to get to level 3 by the time you finish your main clear, maybe even a level 4 if you greed out a little bit on the scuttles. But once you have that spike, even after you reset and you're able to buy your first curated Dirk, that is when you are the most powerful on the map, and that is when TMU Gold are the most susceptible. Now, you're going to have a really difficult time as an assassin taking down Ornn, taking down Azir. So a lot of the pressure is going to be focused on the spot lane, and that's exactly what TMU Gold are betting on, because I would tell you right now that both of these teams, both of these junglers are going to start in their top side jungle, path their way down, and then they'll meet each other at about 3 minutes 15 for a really big 3 versus 3. And we've called it out before, right? UofT Sapphire, they're on a clock, they're on a timer, and they need to put themselves ahead before 15-20 minutes, get a couple dragons to be able to help close out this game before it goes way too long.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what they're going to do, but I hear the players are ready to be on the riff, so we're going to go ahead and take us into the game and see what's going to happen. Like you're saying, that 3v3 potential is something we're going to be looking for really early. I don't expect we'll see a whole lot before that 3-minute mark. Of course, we do know UofT Sapphire is insanely aggressive team. TMU, there's appearing to be a very calculated stream. I know some of my casters have said they're a great team to cast. They seem like they play very, very good League of Legends, which have led them to this undefeated set against UofT Sapphire. And to the point where, despite seeing UofT Sapphire kind of dominant, I feel like TMU Gold feels like the top dogs moving into this series.
Yeah, so looking here at these lineups, there's nothing that is unprecedented. You don't really see any lane swaps this early on into the game. You're not getting any of those new rune pages that you might think. The Arcane Comet making a debut on both of these supports. For those of you that might have, or sorry, that is going to be you're familiar. It's not an Arcane Comet. So, you know, largely untouched rune pages for all of these teams. I would expect things to play out pretty similarly to what we predicted here on this draft lineup.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot that's unexpected early on. I think I'm curious to see the plays UofT Sapphire elect to make, especially from this bot lane, as we get closer. Like, we know Except Defeat and Siesta are the type to try and push any advantage they can. They like to do as much damage as possible in that lane phase to set up Alan to come in and really find a good angle of play. The only thing that I think is scary is that TMU Gold is such a safe team. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to find picks on these guys. Karma's going to shield and boost Ashe to safety whenever needed. Jarvan has a very strong map presence. Azir can just kind of dash wherever he wants. And then Ornn is Ornn. Like, at the end of the day, Ornn is Ornn. After the first few levels, you're not killing Ornn. In the first early levels, you're not killing Ornn. All you can really do is deny him as much CS as possible to win lane against Ornn. And Mbess is a champion that's going to excel by getting as much gold into the system as possible, getting some early kills, finding any avenues of getting some early plates and a lot of CS. And that's a really hard thing for her to do against Ornn. It's why it's not often a pick you see as a counter to Ornn. Arky right now has been playing it very well. They have a lot of, well, a little bit of health over Expels. Has a bit of a CS advantage at the moment, but that tower shot is going to change things around. Ooh,
I mean, super
really
aggressive play, but if I bring your attention over to the mid lane, we already have a gank happening on this Orianna, relieving a lot of pressure away, and it's going to be a flash for flash. What?
we do get that flash for flash. A little surprised to see it come out that early, but I get it. Get the flash away from the mid laner, force Orianna to really play risky to that Azir. Now Allen going to come and try to do the same thing, but Salt, much easier time dashing away on that Azir, can just shift the sands, dash under that tower.
Now I will say, now I will say that the game plan is going pretty much as planned for both of these teams. You see this Orianna bullying Azir a lot through these early levels, and through that extra health advantage is able to prevent Salt from helping out on this bot lane scuttle. Right, you have Allen able to force this Jarvan away, get a lot of extra resources, and now has the enemy side jungle ported.
Oh, lots of damage coming through. We're having that Rangers focus picking apart, except the Feet, who's trying to get on the runaway, is forced to flash. And now Siesta left by themselves. The high note is going to land the stun, but Karma going to follow it up with a root of her own. And now that's going to be first blood. Siesta not even burning the flash, thinking they could get away. Immediate first blood. It's going to be over to Karma, not Ash, but now they're going to try to get a follow-up kill on except the Feet. Except the Feet can be able to throw that slow back. And there's the flash forward from Yuckchill. Yuckchill going to go under the tower. 1-for-1 trade as both Accept Defeat and Yuckchill going to pick up the kill.
The kill looks pretty nice on paper, but as the AD carry, you're missing out on so much farm here. Your Karma has to try and shove, and yes, Accept Defeat is going to lose out on it as well, but Yuckchill, you're down 5 CS right now. You went 1-for-1. It's going to be a struggle for you coming back to this lane, right? And that sequence there, what I want to highlight is you should not be getting caught out like this if you are University of Toronto. Right? If you are UofT Sapphire, you cannot just let this Karma walk up, use her chain on you, and then run you down. It's one of the specialties that they do, and not respecting that spacing properly in order to like try and hit this tower is what's going to spell your downfall in this matchup.
Call the Forge God to come out. There's going to be the public execution. It does land. Expels. And Arky trading ultimates. Not wait, there's the flash from Arky. An interesting flash that would just use Expels now on the back, but forced him to Arky's tower. But Arky doesn't have a lot of health. Is he going to move forward? There's a sweeping blade. Expels able to dash away both of them. No flash. There's going to be the bellowing breath. Can Expels finish the job? Arky on 1 HP. Expels probably an ability away from dying as well. Hiding in the bush, using bush control. Both of these men are one hit. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Yuckchill going to find Accept Defeat under his turret with the assist of Jarvan. No flash. These ADCs very easy to kill. And now, just like that, TMU is going to be in a sizable lead in that bot side.
Yeah, it's a disaster for the Toronto Sapphire bot lane, as with this lane state pushing out against them, you are suffering a lot because you're going to lose one more wave. You're going to lose a second wave after that because this Yunara comes back to the lane, but your Seraphine is low health. You're not able to take this fight. You're not able to take this trade, and it's going to be a struggle here for them to try and keep up. And I also just want to do a little bit of a recap. It's what the heck happened in that top lane, right? You have the Ambessa, you have Arky fighting so hard, getting that Ornn as low as possible, and that is one of those big timers in the game where you're able to duel them on a one-on-one. Now, after Expels resets, they have they have a ton of extra armor in their inventory. They're going to be hard to breach, but Arky has a pickaxe. That 875 of just raw AD is going to buy you a lot, especially with Ambessa's innate passive that gives her some of that armor shred. It's going to help you extend your effective timer just a little bit further to try and find another solo kill.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a little bit of the advantage coming from Arky, and Ornn playing very far up in that lane Can Arky use that pickaxe to their advantage? Of course, the public execution is coming up soon. Same with the Call of the Forge God. We're talking about itemization as well. Like, I feel like despite Ash's slight gold advantage, it hasn't been used yet. It might be a good angle. Oh, wait, there's the crystal arrow. Is going to find its way to the mid lane. Hollow, forced to get sent to the other side of the lane, is going to use the... Oh, tried to shockwave away, but it wasn't enough. That arrow going to give a free kill over to Salt. Allen going to try to make up for it. Can he change it to a 1-for-1? Flashes forward, does find the root. Salt slowed by the smite. There's going to be another ganker, but it's not going to be enough as Allen... Wait, the dash away. Allen not able to finish the job, and now he's stuck in the Cataclysm against another ganker. Nowhere to go. Jarvan able to turn it around, and now it's 5-1 for TMU.
Man, Allen might as well be on Mars because that is a world away from the target you were trying to kill. Just getting stuck in that Jarvan cage has got to sting. And now we see TMU Gold leading 5-1 in a match they outscale in the first place.
Going right on top of Expels. Goes for the Call of the Forge guard, but Arky going to try to bring a little bit back to UofT Sapphire, finding his first kill on that orange.
Beautiful, beautiful play there. I actually don't know how the Forge God did not hit Mbessa there, dodging in behind it. It must have been frame perfect to dodge that, and that would have spelled a certain death, especially because of Ornn's passive getting that extra hits, right? But, you know, as we continue to pan around this map, TMU Gold have a really significant advantage here. They're continuing to bully out this bot lane. And yes, we did call some extra attention before to potentially a dark horse hero coming out of top. It's going to be difficult, especially when TMU Gold invested so much. Wait a minute,
Al's going in there. There's going to be encore. Charm high note goes on top of Braves. Braves trying to make the run away. Are they going to be able to? There's the flash crystal arrow going to spell the end of that play. UofT Sapphire so close to the kill, yet so far.
Yeah, you need to pick up those kills. You're playing a Kiana. You're under that pressure. We see Yuckchill stepping up a little bit too far for his britches.
There's going to be the barrier. High note going to miss, but except the feet staying on top. Braves also very low on HP. Forced to flash both flashes, both abilities. Now Allen waiting the wings, sitting in that bush. We see that tower dive ready to go. Can they do it successfully, or will this be a very rough play? TP going to come forward. Allen goes through. Double kill and dash away off the back of that supreme display of talent. Allen making the namesake of that ultimate clear to everyone watching.
Yep, beautiful, beautiful maneuverability there. Being able to secure that double kill, and then, you know, even though he gets chased and he's all the way inside the enemy base, he ultimately manages to get an execute off, preventing a lot of goals from making its way back to TMU Gold. That trickle down system is not functioning, and now you see a bit of a desperation play from the Gold here as they're starting up this dragon while their bot lane has yet to recover.
Public execution going to miss on the top side. That dragon fight is well underway. They do have prio on both the lanes. Expel though, flash under turret, forces a flash out of Expel. Expel going to find the kill. I'm shocked that tower did that much damage. Arky going to go down after a very aggressive play. Now Siesta tries to flash away, gets caught in the Cataclysm. Enough damage going to be done. Siesta goes down. 2 more kills over to the back of TMU Gold, and just like that, they're going to find themselves in a gold advantage with 2 objectives. Step to feet though now on top of Raves. Crystal Arrow going to be used as a defensive measure. Salt sticking around to try to defend his teammates. Allen goes in. Braves survived, and now this root going to go through. Braves finds the kill on Allen. Everything's looking so close to being good for UofT Sapphire, and yet it's so far from actually giving them an advantage.
Yep, it's a struggle to be in this position. You are looking for angles. You're getting these kills. You have opportunities, but it's always, I feel like the X factor here has definitely got to be a lot of what Braves is bringing to the table.
There's going to be a flagging drag on top. Hollow forced to use shock, but can't get to his turret. But can he finish the job on another ganker? Another ganker, 1 hit away. The shutdown goes over to Orianna.
Classic mid lane donation there. You know, you're chilling, you're clearing this wave, and oh no, a really big 500 gold minion just started walking at me and bearing its flag. I'm sure Hollow will gladly accept this donation. Now, we do see here, Arky has not let up their rampage a single moment. They're continuing to push this Ornn here under the tower, and they're still winning these trades. Big pointer here for this Mbessa is level 11. It was going to give her a massive burst of lifesteal of armor pen as well. It's going to help her with this dive because it looks like Alan is certain posture.
Yeah, go onto that turret. The Supreme Display of Talent going to go through before the Call of Forge God can.
Yep.
And Arky doesn't even need to use public execution. They find the kill. Arky right now going to be the unsung hero for a while of UofT Sapphire. He is really the goal difference. The bot side of the map is broke. The top side's looking quite good.
There's another ganker here flashing.
We do see
these kills.
Both members of UofT Sapphire are rotating to another ganker right now. There's going to be a flag and drag in. Public execution going to miss. And now another ganker going to be able to go home scot-free, maybe? He might have to execute here. He is channeling the bush. He is going to get caught by Arky here. Arky flag and drags through, and that should be enough to get him out.
Yeah, I think in another world, if Alan had maybe like 20, 50% more HP, he would have been able to sustain that offense and cut him off. But it's just not meant to be. Another ganker is going to get away with that scot-free. Looking at the current state of the game, we have some first item completions coming through. This Cold Heart on the Ornn is not going to do too much in this direct matchup, but it's going to help them a lot in the course of these team fights. What I also want to point out here is this Orianna is doing really well for herself in the lane, and she still just has an Archangel staff, so she's still relatively pretty weak, and it's only going to help snowball from there. So big attention is now coming out on if the Hollow is going to be able to perform in these team fights, as we have another one coming up in about a minute and a half.
Yeah, a minute and a half away from that Inferno Drake. A very nice Drake to have, especially if you're UofT Sapphire. The bonus damage is kind of what you can have over TMU, who's a team that just they do a lot of damage, but it's a lot of damage over time. We're not seeing a lot of burst. They're just winning these extended fights. If you can stop them from being extended, that's huge for you. However, Arky continuing to dash forward on Expels, doesn't have the flash, isn't going to be able to flash in the first game on the bot side. Encore goes out, but it's too late for Siesta, who is going to go down to another Jarvan gank.
Yeah, the Ashe Karma lane in itself is not doing too hot. You're seeing how much they're being traded into. You see how low they get during their exchanges, but it's that support, it's that helping hand from another ganker is able to help keep them in this. And we see, even though Alan is roaming around here like a hungry shark, you can't get on top of a Jarvan and an Ashe when they're put together like this. It's near impossible. Now, as we continue to set up here for this Infernal Drake, you see just how aggressively the Toronto Sapphire are playing. They're not looking to give up any space, and we see
Alan was looking maybe a tower dive, Supreme Display of Talent, but it's not going to be enough as another ganker catches him in a bit of a weird spot for Alan to be.
Yeah.
Saul's going to be able to kill Hollow now. Now you can see under the individual gold, even though the game looks even, it is really just Arky with all their gold. A tower dive under his turret as well. Expel's doing so much. The shield's going to go through, though. There's Arky finding a kill on Expels. Expels doing the same thing Arky did and dies under turret, continuing the gold difference to be pretty well just on Arky.
You're getting a little bit too greedy there. If you're going 100 to 0 dying under this tower, right? You're Ornn, right? You're Ornn, you're trying to get powerful, you're trying to scale up, and going for a play like that, no matter how low she is, she has an Eclipse in that back pocket, she's gonna be able to survive. Now we see TMU Golds are now maneuvering to help secure this Infernal Drake. They have that strong early position, and with Alan looking to cross map this, trying to get the Rift Herald instead, you're setting yourself up in an okay position, right? Having two Drakes going the way of TMU is their best case scenario, because they're helping ensure that they scale super strong into this late game even harder, thanks to the benefit of this Chemtech Drake. All you have for it is temporary relief here with this Rift Herald, and yeah, you're going to be able to take a tower, maybe a tier 2 with it at that, but after that, it's nothing that TMU can't retake afterwards.
Yeah, TMU is setting themselves up nicely to have that late game advantage on an already hard scaling team.
Yep.
The only issue that has kind of come up for them is it is that Chemtech soul. Probably the worst soul in the game, especially for a team like them. It doesn't benefit a whole lot of their champions. Like, I mean, who puts the Chemtech soul to good use? Jarvan. I mean, Karma kind of helps shield people when they're low health, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But overall,
yep,
it's not the world's best soul for them if they do claim it. I think another thing that's really interesting about this game is despite the kill difference, the CS difference has been siding with UofT Sapphire, who just found another kill under the turret, able to take down Yuck Chill away from safety. Meanwhile, another ganker able to take that blast count, gets away from the public execution, survives a very risky situation, but it's going to continue. However, Expelled is there. I don't think they were expecting it. And now, here comes Azir, the whole gang jumping on Arky and Allen, who are trying to run away. The stun does land, and it does look like they're going to be out safe. Insane risk. 2 flashes burnt away from the top and jungler of UofT Sapphire.
I mean, I really think another universe there, if the Ornn was able to redirect his ultimate, both of them would have been dead over in that top side river. But alas, we live with the hand we're dealt, and Toronto Sapphire are able to get away with it scot-free. And you see yourself put in this situation where TMU play very coordinated. They have a really strong overall game plan. They have a really good macro, but Sapphire are the micro kings right now. They're able to, the way that they're clicking, the way that they're maneuvering these team fights, the way that they're able to find picks, it is just spot on. They're not letting a single opportunity go. And it's going to be one of those big philosophical questions of, is micro or macro really what you need to win this game?
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, the league's always been that big mix of both, but we are seeing just how strong some of the micros are coming out to like allow people to outmaneuver fights that like you usually wouldn't see won. But at the same time, the macro strength of TMU right now is really putting them in a good position for this late game. Oh my god, Crystal Arrow is gonna land. Siesta, not a lot of places to go as another ganker comes in. Make sure to accept defeat first, followed by the support. It's another 2 kills off the back of Jarvan being in the right place at the right time.
The plink, really casual job there from the Ashe. Doesn't have to really try too hard. Now we see Hollow gets engaged on by the Jarvan solo.
Yeah, nowhere for Hollow to go either. And just a lot of deaths coming across the map for UofT Sapphire in this moment.
Yeah.
Probably not what we're seeing UofT Sapphire used to. Oftentimes, UofT Sapphire are the group who are able to just kind of move in, find a lot of early advantages, and really just push the tempo in super aggressive ways. But TMU seems prepared. We see a lot of just either defensive plays on the overcommitting or another ganker just being everywhere he needs to be to stop the aggressive plays from coming out.
Yeah, honestly, this is just clean, honest League of Legends, right? You're playing for your big macro game, and you're doing respectful plays. We see the Allen though.
Allen tries for the Emperor's Divide, gonna keep him under that Azir turret. Just doing a ton of damage to them at this point. Dragon up in 50 seconds. If TMU Gold gets it, they're gonna be on Soul Point. And Soul Point is gonna be a very deadly place for UofT Sapphire to have to fight against. We do see though, gold-wise, it's pretty well even across the board. It is 38.1 to 38.4. They've kept a very even split on it. TP coming out right now from Azir as they try to take that T1 turret. The Herald's going to be placed, try to use it as both a distraction for this mid lane and to give them that dragon prio that they need. Allen, though, might be caught here. The Crystal Arrow from across the map is going to land. And an insane arrow from Ashe is going to result in the death of their jungler. Now Invested trying to run away, but it's smited. Forced to get out of that Rift Herald. There's going to be a shockwave trying to keep them alive. It's not going to do enough as Spell's able to live. The volley slow gets Hollow down as well. And just like that, the gold swing goes in TMU's favor. They're going to get a free dragon as well. Ouch.
I really don't know what to say to that, man. You really overextend yourself for that mid lane turret. Yes, it would have been really nice to have it gone, get yourself that extra real estate, but you cannot be sending in your jungler in a suicide run to get it. And you even see there, the Sapphire are just trying to overcommit again to defend their tier 2 tower. Sometimes you just gotta let it go, guys. You gotta play with the hand you're dealt, and this refusal to loosen the grip is going to hurt you a lot more than if it just happened anyways.
Yeah, and now the gold advantage starting to show. 4,000 gold, 3 dragons. They have grubs. They have the same amount of towers now. Supreme Display a tower and lands on another ganker, but he still has that flash up. The blast cone from the Chemtech map is going to allow him to just get safely to Salt. Not going to be able to find that shutdown. There's a lot of shutdowns on the board for UofT Sapphire. If they can claim them their way back in the game, but it's a very hard ask with how TMU continues to group up.
Yeah, you see the way the TMU are playing, it really counters a lot of what Sapphire are trying to go for. Their team comp excels at isolating targets, at being able to pick them off.
Oh, public execution gonna miss as a dash forward. There's gonna be a crystal arrow to try to turn the fight. Allen gets stunned, is no longer in the stun, but it doesn't matter when Assault just deletes health bars like they're nothing. Call the Forge gonna go through, doesn't even have time to use it before Mbessa falls, and now Baron is gonna be the prize of TMU gold. Is there any way back in this for UofT Sapphire, actually?
I really don't know at this point. We were calling it out before. The gold was pretty even despite TMU golds starting to pull ahead in kills, starting to pull ahead in terms of objectives. But at this point, you're down 5,000 gold. You are down 3 dragons. And now a Baron just found its way into TMU gold's hands. They're going to start raising really significant parts of your base. I would not be surprised at all if we saw 1 to 2 inhibitors fall during this Baron play and convert further, right? We have the Sapphire putting themselves in a position where they are trying here to defend, and they're playing that cross map with Hollow. But if Hollow is not present at these team fights, you don't stand a chance at winning them.
Yeah, and the worst thing is if they get those 2 inhibs, that dragon is going to be next to free to play, and the map pressure is going to be so strong. We do see them pushing. It's 4 people defending. Orianna on a split push right now, trying to draw attention away from that Baron use. They are able to pull 2 away. Azir and Ornn going to be going to that bot side turret, forcing that Baron to be kind of halted for a little bit of time. They have to survive a little longer without losing any inhibitors, but they're still in a very dire position.
Yeah, and if you have the Baron buff, right, it lasts for a significant amount of time. You're going to be able to reset, spend up all that gold you just got, because mind you, they haven't reset since their big 4K team fight for nothing. Another back out on the map, and you're pushing in that middle lane. You're pushing through bot lane, and you're really giving Sapphire really big conundrums here at what they choose to defend. We see Sapphire bunching up here in this bottom side brush, looking to see if they can find an angle.
Oh, and there's going to be the engage. Crystal Arrow goes through. Good night to Siesta. Good night to Allen, except the feet on the run, but the Call of the Forge God going to make sure that Hollow gets locked down. Arky trying to be the sacrificial lamb, goes down with his 2 teammates. Now Hollow, can he get away? That's the only question we're asking. Can he survive to live another day? He's not able to. Now it's just Yunara left to defend a falling, crumbling base on an 8K gold gap. There's almost no chance that Yunara survives this next push coming in. For sure, 2 inhibs are going to fall. The question is TMU going to play it safe, or are they going to look to end? Diving on top of Accept Defeat, the smite going to go through the slow lands. Accept Defeat running to their fountain, and they can't quite there. Dying on the steps as Seraphine spawns, and that should spell everything you need to know from this game 1. Yuckchill walking forward, taking that turret. The DP going to go through on that minion to keep it alive, keep that extra bonus tower damage going. First Nexus turret going to fall. Second Nexus turret getting close to the way there. Still a huge wave, and now it's just them and the Nexus. There's going to be a public execution forward. They do find Salt, trying to keep the game alive. Braves running to the other to the Nexus, and that's going to be it as TMU Gold take game 1 against a crumbling UofT Sapphire.
Yeah, wow. The situation we find ourselves in, right? TMU Gold, calm, control, collected. They were able to win out on those team fights, and they just let Sapphire play into their hands. They had a lot going for them at certain stages of the game, right? You have Arky, who is becoming a really significant problem over the top lane, but the problem with Mbessa is you don't have a lot of that scaling prowess. You can't go into that later game, and your primary carry there towards the end there, the Yunara, just keeps getting caught out in these fights, in these skirmishes that they shouldn't be. And I'm going to be honest with you, that kill from TMU Gold onto the Yunara as she was running back to her base when she was standing next to the Inhib Tower, she never should have been there. And that directly contributes to their ability to end that game. I think if you're playing a little bit more safe, Accept Defeat's going to be able to come back with the rest of his team and hold things down. But at this point, it's just a symptom of a larger problem.
And I think the other thing is, we kind of called it out in draft. Yunara is not something we've seen come out of Accept Defeat yet. And it just, the Seraphine Yunara combo in that bot lane didn't feel comfortable. I know people are going to see Allen, we'll go ahead and take a look at the stats, but you'll see someone like Allen who had like a really bad KDA ratio this game on their main. And I don't mean to like put the blame on the bot lane, but at the end of the day, Allen's focusing bot lane on champions a 55% win rate on in Masters. And he's with two people that these champions don't show up in the like top 3, top 5 history. Now, there was just not a lot of comfort there. It really felt like we locked in like some of our champions to stop TMU Gold from doing what they're good at doing, but we didn't give ourselves an opportunity to do what we do well. I'm really hoping in this game too, we're seeing UofT Sapphire lock in picks that we know UofT Sapphire to pick. I want those strong mid laners. I want Allen to be rotating around the map on a jungler that can really assist his team. I want to see a Kai'Sa or an Ezreal come out and accept defeat, which we've seen him play to absolute perfection. I want some of these stronger supports to come out on Sapphire. We've seen the Nico open, wasn't taken. We've seen the Milio open, wasn't taken. I would have preferred a Milio Yunara combo over a Yunara Seraphine combo. Of course, they didn't take it away so that they didn't fight Ashe Seraphine. But I would have rather seen them go against an Ashe Seraphine and do what they're good at doing than lock that away. That said, this draft too, they have a lot more options in their pool than some of the members of TMU Gold do.
Yeah, the removal of just so many generic strong characters, the Orianna, the Seraphine, is going to have really strong implications. But may I remind you, we're fighting in a best of 3. This isn't a BO5. So while the flawless factor is very important, you're going to be struggling here because this is series point now for TMU. They looked very comfortable, very dominant in that first map. You're going to have to do a lot of work here to dislodge them.
Yeah, and the only way they're going to be able to do that work is if they take a little break, reset their mentals, get ready to just win this next draft, win this next game, and bring us to that Silver Scrapes game 3. But before we take our break, we got to do one very important thing, Spathlies. You know what that is?
Well, what is that?
We got to thank the sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. CIE is sponsored by BMO to help you focus on what's important. BMO has checking and saving accounts, credit cards, and borrowing options specifically designed for students. Open a BMO student account and get up to $950 in value, including a $175 cash prize with BMO's current student offers. Visit bmo.com/students for details. They also run BMO Next Level, which is a first-of-its-kind program dedicated to helping gamers level up in game and in real life. Run by Sean Frame, BMO's gaming relations specialist. Sean Frame brings a commitment to helping viewers achieve their financial goals and has a passion for gaming as an active member of its community. And of course, the big sponsor that everyone's been talking about in chat throughout the course of this game, exclamation mark raffle. UofT has supplied us with 6 gaming mice that help make you better at what you do. Type exclamation raffle in the chat below the stream, and you have a chance to win one of 6 gaming mice supplied by UofT. The raffle is going to be happening on May 9th at the end of the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition. You can code like a maniac, design like a guru, and game like an assassin. Take pride in your setup and look good while you achieve it all. Discover your inspiration, defy definition, be UofT.
Yep. I'm definitely going to be one of 6 at least. I don't know about UofT, but you've been catching me through these streams red-handed. I've been putting an exclamation mark raffle every time. I don't know if he gives me more votes or whatever, but I want one of those mice.
Dude, it would be so nice to have a UofT, like a pretty gaming mice to replace like your old Logitech mouse or something like that. Go in, load up your next league match, go on a 10-game winning streak, go on a 15-game winning streak. Who knows? Maybe that mouse will carry you all the way to CIE next year. But we're going to throw it to a short break, and we'll see you guys at the next draft. Don't go anywhere. I just spit all over. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back as we get ready for game 2 of TMU Gold versus UofT Sapphire. Of course, TMU Gold picking up that first game of our best of 3 series. They're on match point, but UofT Sapphire looking to bring us to a game 3. Spaffles, what are we hoping to see from this draft?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I want to see a lot of comfort picks come out, right? We're going into this next draft, and we had some really good ideas at the beginning. Like when you draft the Seraphine off rip, when you have it as a counter to the Ashe or denying it from the Ashe, it's a good play in theory, but in practice, you're going to struggle when you're not playing characters that you're used to. And I think that is going to be one of the prime targets here for Sapphire as they're coming in now on the blue side. They get B1, and that is a really powerful position. They can lock in an Ezreal, for example, or a Lucian, which are one of the 2 top characters that accept defeat plays. And even
Aurora,
though there is a
please.
Nami ban, you're going to be able to get a lot of extra Enchanters action with Lucian. I don't think that deters them like nearly enough.
Aurora, please. Lock in Aurora. I want Hollow on Aurora. He's nasty on it. Get me the Aurora or the Victor. That's what. Yes! 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 Woo! I love it. I love it. Yes! I'm so happy. There we go. We get UofT Sapphire 1. I'm convinced. I'm caster cursing it right now. I'm really happy about that pick. He's been cracked all series on it. You need a comfort pick to go to game 3. It's this one. Brilliant. Brilliant B1. Because like now I don't know what Salt plays. It's nothing we can see. His Aurora taken away, his Orianna taken away, his Kayana taken away. He's looking at the Zoe pick. Is Zoe good into Aurora? I don't see Zoe much.
I don't think that meta-wise, at least, Zoe is particularly good, period. But in their hands, I think that TMU Gold have earned enough trust, at least from me personally, to go into this. Like, hear me out. What if we do Zoe, and then we combo it with somebody that's really explosive, like a Nefiri, who's able to follow up and get those confirms? It is a little untraditional, I'll give you that, but there is some merit in doing the unthinkable, especially when Sapphire, it always looked like they were a step behind, at least in terms of the larger game plan.
Yeah. I already don't like TMU's comp in terms, like, I can see what they're, I'm a huge Shyvana player, but not in comp.
Yep.
Not in comp, not when we're on the stage. I mean, of course, the rework, they're like a very strong farming jungler, but we're really trusting our team to be safe, and that's not what we've seen ever from Sapphire. Oh, yeah. I really hope that gets swapped, especially when you're against a Nefiri Zoe who can roam around the map so well. You're just going to leave your team to their devices. Thank God. Okay, great. So far, loving UofT Sapphire's draft. We need a little bit more AD answers.
Yep.
Okay, I can see this going well. See, now UofT Sapphire feel like they're drafting the really strong draft, and TMU is doing weird stuff.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. Sapphire have locked in a really strong engaged trio. You're laying a little bit hard into the AP, but you have the rest of your draft to make up for it. You still haven't picked your ADC. That's a-okay with me. You get the Spaffles thumbs up of approval. But when you go to the other side, when you look at what TMU are drafting, it is going to start to fall apart a little bit when you have this Wukong who's diving in deep. You really have to try and salvage this potentially here with an engage. It's going to be Emilio. I think we're getting a little bit of conflicted signals here. You have a Fury who wants to dive in, pounce on them. You have the Zoe who wants to send out those bubbles, who acts a little bit more as a poke mage. And then Emilio in the middle of all that, yeah, he gives you a little bit more range. But when you're not locking your AD carry yet, you're leaving a lot of room for it to start getting banned out. TMU Gold have made a little bit of a awkward play, I feel like.
It's also like, okay, so Milio's really good for like countering the Pop Blossom. I'll give him that. But like, your threat in these team fights is not the Pop Blossom. You have a Cyclone, you have a knockup that's going to run through you, even if you get rid of that. At that point, you see the Pop Blossom, you see that. They're going to try to chain CC you. So the moment that Pop Blossom gets hit, you're going to get out of it and immediately go into a Cyclone. So is that worth it? Is it worth locking in a support who does that, which is against kind of what your team comp is looking? Maybe they're just going to destroy lane phase and it won't matter. We do see a lot of these ADCs gone. Ezreal is the most contested pick up from these guys is Arsenal. I think Echo pairs with the Nico very well. With the Milio, they can play super safe with it. Curious to see what TMU Gold elects to do here. Lucian, maybe? Smolder going to come out. Their comp doesn't feel like it synergizes all that well.
Yeah. I think that Smolder is one of those really strong scaling characters. You combo it with Emilio. All right, you got a little bit of staying power, but in the face of what Sapphire have drafted, they've picked up that Ezreal who's able to support them from range or help assist in these dives. And then you've got a Cassante who is going to be really strong. A Renekton.
Oh, I prefer the Cassante here. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I know we're doing Renekton because it's the better blind. I much prefer Cassante here. I think Cassante here really rounds out your team comp and is still a solid blind. I do think we're going to see the Renekton because most people prefer that Renekton pick blind. Oh, if a good counter pick can shut that down, but it does need to be something tanky. You don't have a front line right now if you're TMU. You need something tanky into that Renekton. What would be maybe, I mean, realistically, something like a Mundo would be really funny. You could see like I guess like a Singed. If you want to be really interesting, we see like a Cho'Gath or an Urgot. As the other problem is you probably want a, Gnar? We're thinking Gnar.
I mean, Gnar is like a generically strong. He's going to win against Renekton in the top lane. Gwen is a pretty good character. I do like her more than Gnar would have been. But
same.
We find ourselves in a situation where Sapphire, with the advantage of being on the blue side, just seemed like they drafted a lot more of a cohesive and a better composition overall. They're going to be able to scale really well into this late game, except defeat as Ezreal as one of their top played characters. And we saw yesterday just how well they were able to pilot it in their series versus UofT Ruby. So I have zero doubt that you're going to be able to pack a lot of damage on this character. Meanwhile, TMU, they're going to have a really slow early game. Then Neferi is going to get outscaled while your Smolder starts to rise up. Gwen is kind of good all around. And then your real wild card here is Zoe. Is she going to be able to get ahead in lane? When it comes to teams of this caliber, I would say no, but really anything could happen.
Yeah, it like you're saying, it becomes a thing where this feels kind of like similar to the last game where the team on the blue side has this very standard cohesive comp. TMU has a team that, like, I want to say need to get ahead lane, but they do scale well. Like Smolder, Gwen are going to get stronger on that 2-3 item once those stacks are good. Zoe gets stronger over the course of the game, but can do a lot in lane. And then Neferi is like a mid-game assassin. It's just, I'm trying to imagine how a team fight goes with these teams. And unless it's like a fiesta, I don't foresee team fights going super well for TMU. They have good side lane pressure. Like someone like Gwen is going to be able to sit there if they get ahead in lane and just run down the side lanes and hopefully draw out fights. But I don't really know where their team identity lies other than we get strong in the later game. So let's just push this and then hopefully we do enough damage that having a comp doesn't matter as much. They really have no front line at all.
Yeah.
It's one of the big things. Like even Gwen, like I get an AP bruiser, but like Gwen is not a good AP bruiser in terms of let me front line for my team. It's a good in terms of I can't get hit, let me dive in. But it very much feels like, okay, if we're going to ever take a team fight, we need to pick first. And we need to get a pick into what? An Ezreal who can just arcane shift, to an Aurora who can hop between worlds, into a Renekton who can dash away. Like the only people you can kind of get a pick on is the Nico, I guess. But the Nico will probably never be alone if they're playing it right.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot more of that automatic. Did my thing die? I'm not able to see anything anymore.
I think we can still be heard, and we're about to be hopping into game.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Here we are on the Rift, all 5 members marching forward right now. Going ahead and finding those five points across this map. It does look like we're getting a standard 5. Not a lot going to be seen in this early stages of the game. Nobody really making any attacks on each other. We're standing a little bit far up, but I don't imagine we're going to be seeing people hop onto her. The bush cheese just waiting between Expellies and Arky.
Yeah,
here we go. Arky finding the first little bit of damage. It does look like they're just going to be batting heads against each other in this early game, but probably not much more than that.
Yeah, there's some good damage happening in these trades, but ultimately that's what top lane is going to be, right? You have, your consistent trades. I'm not expecting to see a solo kill come out in this lane. While I do say that, there are 2 ignites there, so it is going to be super high chance of something happen, especially with the jungling turbulence, as both of these junglers are pathing from bot side to top, so we're going to see a lot more emphasis there on that matchup. One thing I want to point out is this is always already half health. Must have gotten caught off guard by the Aurora burst, and that's not really a position you want to be in, especially as somebody who's supposed to be winning this lane hard.
Yeah, like the one thing with Zoe here is she should be able to get a lot of chunk damage, but if she misses a bubble, that's always going to be Chris's chance to just kind of jump forward. There's going to be the bubble though. We're going to see the first little bit of damage going forward. Finds chunks Chris at a half. One more of those is going to kill her. It's a little bit rough for Krista in that moment, especially right now. I think one good trade for either of them does net them the kill. It's just, can they find the angle? Meanwhile, on top side, Arky and Expellies going to just be going at it for a little bit of time. There it is, 1-for-1 trade. Zoe gonna pick up the first blood though, right under the turret. As soon as we pan over, we just see kill for kill, both flashes down, ignite down. Krista, a little bit of an advantage, has the TP available, can get to lane and set the tempo first.
Yeah, we see
big root going through, lots of damage going on top of the smolder chunk to a quarter HP. Is going to play a little bit safer now on the back of a very solid tangle barbs from Nico.
Yep. Those early trades, that early damage that you get onto a smolder, able to push him away from this wave, levels 1 through 3 are his weakest, and especially until you're able to get to 20 smoldering flame stacks, you're only going to have single target stacking. It's going to be the slowest stage, and to delay that out as much as possible, force an early back, that is exactly what you're looking for if you're Toronto Sapphire. We have Ganker preparing themselves for a potential gank right after their namesake.
He's going through. Is going to find Accept Defeat alone in lane. If Accept Defeat steps up, he's dead. However, Allen has it scouted. Allen walking over. There's going to be Accept Defeat going forward. There's the dash. Siesta was a minion the whole time. Is here for the fight. completely ruins any chance of another ganker finding a kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Arky goes for a tower dive. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Arky and Expellies both burning that ignite.
Yep. Big trade happening. We see
Siesta, Tangle Bars. Oh, that could have been a kill if Braves didn't step forward. The heal going to go forward. They're continuing to commit to this fight. A bit of a dangerous fight to be in. The barrier going to be used. Braves, one shot from death. There it is, as Ezreal able to use that Essence Flux to finish the job on Milio and find his first kill of the lane. It's a bloodbath across these 3 lanes right now.
Yeah, that's Smolder. Able to use the flash, able to use the summoners to preserve his life.
Oh, there's going to be the ultimate forming for Zoe. Had that portal jump available, this lane just got a lot easier for Salt.
Yeah, getting a little bit of a hard reset with that one-on-one was just the advantage that they needed right now that they come back to the lane. This is a lot more of what I expected. The Aurora to be about 20% HP, Salt being a lot closer to full. I want to zoom out a little bit. Look at just how far back you're being set. This Renekton is engaging really deep, and he most importantly did not use his ultimate in that trade. So we are looking at a potential one-shot angle, especially with the pickaxe in tow. He has a lot of damage, but he's ultimately going to surrender this wave. Never mind. Maybe not. Maybe tempting.
Dominus available. Arky and Alan both in the area. Alan going to be spotted on that ward. They're assuming another ganker is there, but Alan right now is still backing on a ward. Another ganker coming out of the bush. Spots Alan. The fight rages on. Expellies and Arky at similar HP. Both ultimates still available. Snip, and Dominus up. Meanwhile, Wukong and Fury not there yet. There is a large chunk coming out of the Snip. Needlework could spell disaster for Arky, but he's still going to be coming into this fight. Another ganker forced to run away. He's chunked to a quarter HP. Going to be forced to back here most likely. Alan going back to the warded bush is allergic to scanning it as Arky flashes forward. Dominus use. Stun goes forward. Good night to another ganker. Now Krissa here to help continue the fight is going to be the one rotating. Needlework forced to be used from Expellies as they bait that Nefiri into his first death of the match.
Yep, not looking content with this just yet. We see Arky walking.
Oh, tower dive. Arky gonna go forward. There's Alan. Dives in with that Nimbus strike and is able to find the kill on Gwen. It's a kill under tower. Lots of minions gonna be lost. On top of that, no TP to get back to lane.
Yeah, it's a disaster here in the top lane for TMU Gold. And it's just repeating itself. What is different, though, is looking at the situation here in mid, looking at bot, right? They find themselves in a situation where they're falling behind. And yes, it is by design. This Smolder is not going to be good for a very long stage of the game. You need to start playing like it. And they're really not putting enough respect on what Sapphire are able to accomplish here with this team. This Nico is particularly lethal. And you know, now that the Dragon has been up for 2 minutes now as a Hextech Drake, it's very valuable to both of these teams. I would not be surprised at all to see them start to make these rotates over. You have the junglers finishing up their bot side clears, and everyone with their fresh resets is going to be hungry looking for this next fight.
Yeah, the fight right now feels like it benefits Sapphire. They do have this earlier game team compared to TMU. TMU does have that scaling advantage. It's interesting to see TMU still taking a lot of these fights early on. I think they expected to be able to push that level 1 of 3 advantage like they were earlier, but really the only one their team capable of doing that is Zoe and Nefiri. And at this moment, Zoe and Nefiri kind of behind. Well, I guess Zoe's ahead, and they're like, oh my god! Wow! Gwen able to find that shutdown in the blink of an eye with that fully stacked snip, and Needlework able to take down Arky, and I don't even think Arky was expecting it there.
Yeah, huge bump of damage there. Dominus was not even popped. So another point in the big surprise theory. But you can see here just how close Yuckchill is dancing to death. You have the Arcane Barrage come through, and the follow-up is present, but you know, Smolder is able to, as always, find that disengage, find that survivability in the last moments. And you know, when you find yourself down 15 CS at this point,
Oh, a beautiful bubble with a tower shot gonna do it. It's a 1-for-1 trade once again, and Saltburn Flash, kind of a net positive for Krissa.
Yeah, and it is, because especially with the amount of CS that Salt is going to miss off of that, and no, both of these mid laners don't have TP available to them, you're going to have this wave that is naturally frozen on her side. Now, you see the Grubs making their way over to Sapphire, another big change here from the previous matchup, as that's going to give them so much more of that side lane pressure. We saw before how Hollow 1 was, looking for those side plays, and now Krissa taking up their mantle, taking up that place, is going to be able to do a lot of damage here. The Aurora, being an AP scaler, has a lot of damage already on these towers.
Dragon going to be taken on the opposite of the map by TMU. On top of that, though, right now what we're seeing in the Aurora Zoe lane, Zoe at first item, Aurora took boots, has those Sork shoes, but gonna be down in this current matchup they are in that mid lane until they can break out and go back and get their first item. Zoe has a bit of a significant advantage on Aurora. Aurora's only advantage here is going to be able to dodge skill shots. However, Salt is going to be the one rotating onto accept defeat and Siesta, who it looks like they've been pinged out. Drowsy on the clone. Great clone from Siesta is able to get them under the turret safely, making that roam useless for Zoe. However, Yuckchill taking some advantage, getting a little bit of damage, trying to keep himself safe in that lane.
We see this hover coming out from Siesta, hovering their own lane. You have Allen way far in the back. You're looking for another potential angle here on that bot side, but with no objectives, no prizes to claim for it, you're putting a lot of stock here into continuing to try and snowball the smolder away. When you're in a situation like this, Sapphire really want to continue to try and curb a lot of TMU's scaling. Overpowering that side of the map is going to help them a lot, yes, but you really cannot neglect the same situation that's happening over on that top lane. That Gwen went bed.
Oh, a huge portal, and you're seeing how much damage is being done immediately with that Luden's Echo onto Krissa. One bubble, one shot from that Battle Scar, and it's the entire health bar right now of Krissa. Krissa needs to be dodging those bubbles at this point, or they don't get to be in lane.
Yeah, you're coming in, you have a short vacation, and then you're right on the way back home. The pressure here is continuing to build, right? TMU need to try to make plays happen with the advantages that they've built up for themselves. You have Allen here hiding in this brush.
Allen slipping in. There's going to be the Nimbus strike going forward. Crushing blow goes as well. The knockup ends up landing on the Cyclone. Expellies on the back of Arky taking the tower. Tries to take him down with her. Isn't able to. Gwen going to go down. Allen helped secure the kill.
You see just how close Gwen was to having her needlework available to her. She was on the brink of turning that around, and it's a really sad position to be in when you know that given 1 or 2 more seconds, you could have had a really big fight. But I mean, all eyes out really for this Triforce. Oh, wait.
First turret taken very early here. 11-minute turret for that Renekton off the back of Grubs. Another ganker now sitting is going to get caught out by Krissa. Well, not by Krissa, but by Nico, cloned as Krissa. Spots out another ganker, prevents another ganker from being able to enlist in a tower dive with Salt. Probably just saved Krissa's life there.
Yeah, to zoom back on over to that top side, we see the Gwen TP'd a little bit far.
The Fury in a little bit deep. Pop Blossom goes through. Another ganker forced to flash out of the pit, saving the red buff for his team so far, but another ganker going to come in probably with that smite. Is he going to be able to claim it? It's 2 HP. Isn't, but between worlds, doesn't matter if you got the red buff. Krissa is here to save the day, and they find the Fury. Salt trying to rotate over, has that exhaust available, puts a sleep onto Siesta. Good night, Siesta. Siesta just vanished from the mat in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, Krissa trying to find another 2-hole hex onto Yuckchill. Finds it. Can they get out alive? Salt's gonna miss the paddle star. Takes out the wave. Krissa trying to dash. The bubble not gonna be available. Tries to portal jump, but now a real Arky is here. This isn't the clone. Trying to get on top of Salt. Can he find the stun? Is dashing forward, but Salt's gonna be able to just flash over the wall. Burns the flash. Is able to beat out here on the back of destroying that top T1 turret. So much happening on this bot side.
Zoe's maneuverability is insane, especially when you have all those flashes lit around the fight. And even though that did go really poorly for the Sapphire, I want to redirect your attention, right? Because over in top, we saw Expels was 3-2 just a few minutes ago. Now they find themselves at 3-4, thanks to a really nifty hide and seek tactic there from Allen, watching that Gwen TP overextend herself and then ultimately pay the price for it. Now, UofT Sapphire, are going to continue and try to look for an angle here on this next dragon. It's 40 seconds in, and they don't want to repeat what happened last game where they find themselves down 2 drakes and they have to try and climb their way out of that hole that's constantly being dug underneath them. We see Expels looking potentially for an angle. Hiding here in that brush is going to give up a lot of that chance just to come and walk up and collect this wave. Sort of in a handshake here with Carissa, because you know as soon as Gwen goes immune, there's not really anything you can do to her unless she closes that gap.
Speaking of handshake, Arky in a tough position here in the 3v1. They did that lane swap very early. Gabe bought the mid lane. Arky, though, taking so much damage, has a lot of heal, but it's not going to be enough as Yuckchill going to find the kill. Allen here a little bit too late. Is able to Cyclone, can turn it back to a one-on-one, but it is going to be Smolder who collects the kill, which is very favorable for TMU. The only downside with Neferi dying is that should be a free dragon over to UofT Sapphire. They should get that Cloud Drake. And with how much roaming's been going on in the game, an early Cloud Drake is quite a nice dragon to have. Drowsy on to Ezreal. Is he going to be able to find the bubble? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, a little bit too far even for Zoe to make with her ulti. But, you know, that portal is going to be able to give herself some opportunities here should she look for them.
Drowsy on the Siesta. Siesta gonna get shot. Chunk to half. The Ignite goes through. Tries to pop Blossom. Can't even get it off in time. Sol able to claim another victim to some bubble trouble.
Yeah, but while that kill was happening over in the middle lane, we see the Infernal Drake find its way into, or sorry, the Cloud Drake find its way into Sapphire's back pocket, leading our way to an Infernal Soul. And both of these teams are going to enjoy stacking those Infernal Drakes so very much. That extra AD, that extra AP, and a lot of the hybrid characters that exist here that like both of them, you're going to have an explosive game. These team fights are going to be over in the matter of seconds.
Yeah, we see a lot of people can benefit from these Inferno Dragons. Do you imagine Dragons are going to be on everyone's radar moving forward in this match? Speaking of being on the radar, Arky in a very rough position, doesn't know another ganker's there. Another ganker revealing himself in the bush. Needlework, of course, available as well. But Dominus annihilates another ganker, turns a 2-for-1 into a 1-for-1 situation. Arky able to get a kill. Insane deletion of that Neferi. Just procs the Dominus and you watch that Eclipse do its work.
Yeah, just the raw damage, the raw everything happens. The Voltaic Cyclo Sword doing a lot of work for the Neferi in those trades, even though she does end up falling due to the lack of sustain. Yeah, percent max HP is helping out a lot.
Allen at the top side. Expellies didn't think it was Allen. They seen the clone in the mid lane and probably thought this was a Nico just coming to cover. Comes in, Cyclone, and the damage of Wukong is always one of those champions that I feel like laners underestimate so much. If you're sitting in a Cyclone, he is just going to be doing rapid AD damage.
Yeah, you see these random picks finding their way over to Sapphire's side, but in return, TMU are still continuing to do a very good job at farming. You have a 33 CS lead for the Zoe over this Aurora. That is very significant, and it's going to provide you with your next item spike a heck of a lot faster than the score in total might suggest, right? We do see Sapphire are doing a really good job this game of staying on top of their objectives, but now that they've claimed this Rift Herald, they're looking to
Siesta gonna run forward. There's the Pop Blossom, is able to land it onto Yuckchill, but immediately Neferi going to go to the Hound's Pursuit is able to kill Siesta immediately. However, Krista on top of Yuckchill, going to try and find an angle. However, it's not looking very, very good for them. They're connected in that top lane, going to be fighting a 4v3, and just like that, the play is turned dead, and they're the ones in the risky position. Salt trying to make a run for it. Cyclone not available. Arky in the top side finds Expellies, is able to claim another kill, and now they're going to be able to push that solo lane advantage. Allen trying to take his red buff. Another ganker going to come forward, realizes how much damage Allen does. Allen at 2 items right now is not someone you want to mess with. It's a 4-0 Wukong, and now he's going to be the one on the chase. Zoe or Milio trying to back away. Same with another ganker. A lot of chasing leading to a lot of nothing.
Yeah, and let me remind you, right, University of Toronto Sapphire, the only objectives they have are in this top lane, and they've almost secured that tier 2 tower, which is a really strong, healthy gold injection over to Arky. Wow. The trouble bubble comes in, the flash.
Is it going to go through? The auto does it. The auto doing enough damage to take down Arky.
Yeah, I mean, she's got Lichbane. I guess this was part of the plan all along. You know, put it in as part of your combo, fit that auto anyways, and it's going to help you take it down. And it's already proving its worth. Now, one of those big...
narrowly avoiding that bubble. That would have been death for accept defeat if it hit. That was a terrifying moment for that ADC.
Yep, a little bit of a progress report here on this Smolder. Sitting at 152 CS, only 13 behind this Ezreal. You really want to put this character further behind, because as soon as he hits 225 stacks, which is usually about the time he gets to about 200 CS, he is going to be an unstoppable force. Having those Elder Executes, having a lot of that extra utility built into his kit, also with a slow and an additional burn. Yeah, you're really starting to see this dragon unfold into a new form.
Yeah, Chill doing a lot of damage to the clone right now. I'd be curious to see how many stacks that Smolder is at right now, because we have to start getting close to that mark, to that execute mark. Probably not that far off. Rift Herald going to be popped here. Taking that mid T1 turret. Oh, is it actually going to stay up? It stays up. I take that back. Except if he's going to need to do another auto attack, which means not going to be able to get as much lane pressure as you want. Bubble going to land, but the shot does not. Siesta, though, taking a ton of damage. There's Nefiri trying to go forward. Maybe the Hound's Pursuit going to be used here. Looks like Siesta going to be able to walk out as Krissa gets to the lane. Arky here as well has caught dominance, is chasing down Salt. Between Worlds going to be used. Drowsy on top of that Krissa, but it doesn't matter. Allen able to be there and make sure that Zoe isn't going to kill any more friends. Allen, though, flashes away, survives the needlework. He's on the run. He's a man on a mission going right back to his tower. And now Expellies and another Ganker caught on the wrong side of the map. Expellies going to be able to find their exit. Same with another Ganker. Another Ganker maybe looking at Allen under that turret. He seems like he's eyeing. Nah, he's going to walk away. But that dragon looks like he's going to be in the loving arms of TMU Gold.
Lots of power, right, from TMU Gold. You think that Sapphire are ahead. You observe them in the position that they're at. And TMU Gold just finding ways to prove to you, no. 211 stacks on this Smolder, just 14 away from those Elder Executes. You're fully skilled, you're fully operational and online, and with that new build that you have, native to this patch, you have Deathfire Grasp as well as your Black Cleaver. One Q is going to be able to fully stack it, and with its AoE properties, you're going to have a lot of shred onto your opponents who already are pretty squishy. So this Smolder,
Hound's Pursuit onto Krissa. There's going to be the Between Worlds, gets him under turret, finds a tower drop. But Krissa not able to do a whole lot of work right now.
Yeah, narrow escape.
There's going to be a Drowsy. Barely misses. Salt going to be able to find a stun again. Another bubble going to come forward, looking for a paddle star, but Allen going to be here saying, hey, nope, you ain't touching my top laner. Hops on top of Salt, but the sleep is going to go through. Salt taking a lot of damage off him, except defeat it, and then finds his way into Arky, who's just able to blade the throat of Zoe, sending her back to the gray screen, takes her off the rift. It's now a 5v4 angle on this rift with Baron spawn.
Yeah, that's relieving a lot of pressure that is placed on top of them. You see the KDAs on TMU Gold, and there's nothing sexy about them. You see the position that they found themselves in. But getting these kills, getting these random fights, and being able to secure these is so
Arky coming through, maybe a tower dive coming. Allen there as well. The stun goes on an Expels. Cyclone knocks up Braves, but now Allen way too deep, and it's a lot of throwing coming from TMU Sapphire. They want to push the tempo before the scales come out, but it was just not a very well organized play, and now 3 members going to die in the gold cap, going to disappear.
Wow, I've just wow, the ability to get those kills, right? We see Sapphire overextending themselves, and now TMU Gold lay their sights toward this Baron. Not too much that Sapphire going to be able to do to prevent it. We see Krissa over in that middle lane trying to push it out. All you can do is shove these waves and make sure that TMU spend as much time as possible having to work their way from their base outwards towards your towers, right? There are so many objectives currently up on this map. You're going to be able to do some significant damage with them, especially against that tier 1 tower over in the top lane. Sapphire, for the next couple minutes, are going to have to play a lot more group. They have to be wary of the decisions they make and the steps they do. Sort of acting a little bit counter to that is just how far CS is pushed up. That mid lane is nowhere near your territory, so you've really got to back things up and allow TMU a lot more space to breathe.
Yeah, and it becomes more difficult because, you know, the longer this game goes on, the better of a position TMU's in. We see that Smolder stack now. We see Zoe, who's just able to annihilate the more and more items that come through. Just Siesta gonna be disappeared. Hound's Pursuit gonna find Aurora as well. The cycling goes forward, but he's put to sleep. Allen, nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Gonna be sent to Elderville. Now Hound's Pursuit on top of Accept Defeat, who's not able to RNK shift away. That's 4 dead. Baron Buff. This could be the end of the game. This could be another UofT push that just ends the game in the blink of an eye. There's gonna be the T2 turret falling. Renekton trying to get back in time. T3 gonna fall next. If they kill Renekton, that could be game. Gwen knows it. Gwen gonna TP over. They do find the Fury, but he goes down. Can't they find the push to end? There's the D3 turret. In him, gonna fall. Can TMU claim the championship right here? Siesta, the only defense left for UofT Sapphire. The first Nexus turret already getting annihilated. The second as well. The Baron minions doing their work. There's gonna be a huge pop blossom, but he's got no one to back him up. Siesta goes down. Krissa doing anything, trying to fight and scratch and claw, but TMU Gold are able to take the Nexus, and they're your CIE champions.
Absolute cinema through and through. The way that TMU, I saw that vision, that spark in their eyes as they set their way throughout the mid lane. It was like you were happening. It was happening again. It came to you in a dream, and you just see how TMU are able to convert a lot of these pickups. Right? It's the same thing that happened in game 1. You get that Baron, you walk your way towards the lane that's shoved up the most, and you're able to do so much damage. You're able to secure those kills, and then the funneling. As always, UofT, at least in that position, they took a fight that they thought was pretty far out, they thought was going to be safe for them to do, but at that stage of the game, it just simply wasn't. And then you put your Renekton, you put your Nico in a really difficult situation where if they don't step up, if they're not able to get anything in return, it's imminent death. So you see that Hail Mary play there coming out of Arky. You see Siesta trying to use the Pop Blossom, but it's too little too late as, you know, TMU, they have it in the bag.
And it becomes one of those things where it's so unfortunate because Sapphire have such an interesting and very aggressive play style, but we finally found it come and bite them with TMU Gold able to just really weather the storm. We've seen the aggression work early in the game, but there were some tower dives, some one-for-one trades that weren't working out. And then, of course, the thing that really put to bed their chances of winning CIE was that play under the turret where Renekton and Wukong dove in, but the communication wasn't there. We didn't see Ezreal and Nico follow that up. Siesta and Accept Defeat kind of felt like they thought that wasn't a good idea, and the committing wasn't there. When you're in the finals and you're not committing as 5, that's always going to spell disaster. What a match, though. Probably the closest TMU has come to defeat was that second game. Of course, their scaling was really strong. UofT Sapphire proved their own story to the world, proved why they shouldn't be the B team of UofT. But TMU Gold able to go undefeated from groups to now, not losing even a game to be your CIE champions. Talk about a dominant performance.
Yeah, you got yourself TMU, you know, champions of CIE, victors of a $250 prize pool, but also champions of Toronto, you know, claiming that rivalry that historically has gone both ways in your favor. Now, if you're a Toronto fan out there, if you're a University of Toronto fan, I should say, I'm used to this overall generalization. I'm not used to having 2 Toronto teams thrown together in a way like this. But if you're a University of Toronto fan, you still got plenty here to look out for because there are still more CIE games ongoing. You've got your CS, you've got your Valorant as well. So make sure to go and show the support to these teams. And most importantly, outside of CIE even, you know, you're going to want to go and support these groups because it's all student run. If you're a student out there, you can go and you can sign up for your teams and you can keep this grassroots community flowing because there's always going to be pugs, even if you're not at the highest level. You know, you always want to funnel people in. You want to get that introduction because, you know, not everything is, you know, funded. And a lot of people do this out of the passion, out of the love of the game. So more the people enjoying it, just like we do here, the more it drives you and the more you continue to see a lot of these things go.
Yeah, and even doing something as little as watching these tournaments and supporting things like CIE, we're able to bring these numbers to universities. And like, if you've been watching the panels, go up and be like, hey, this is why you should support esports. This is why you should invest in esports. A lot of teams, even teams like TMU and UofT, they don't get a lot of support from their universities when it comes to esports. So events like this and tuning in and supporting is how we can get more funding in the esports community and make North America a stronger esports landscape for a lot of the up-and-coming players, especially here in Canada, where there's not a lot of support for esports and it's still kind of laughed at by some people. So thank you guys for being here. Of course, it's also important to thank our sponsors and stick around because we might be getting an interview from our champions. So just stick around, give it a little bit longer, hear out the ad read, and then we'll let you know if there is going to be an interview. Do you want to take it away, Spaffles?
Yeah, sure. You know what? Why don't you start us off with BMO and then I'll be the 1 of 1 or 1 of 0, sorry.
You've caught me. You've caught me without the script in my hand. Okay, we're pulling it up. All right, BMO. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the BMO Bank. To help you focus on what's important, BMO has checking and savings accounts, credit cards, and borrowing options specifically designed for students. Open a BMO student account and get up to $950 in value, including $175 cash with BMO student offers. Visit bmo.com/students for details. They also have BMO Next Level. It's a first-of-its-kind program dedicated to helping gamers level up in-game and in real life. Run by Sean Frame. I'm getting really used to Sean's name at this point. BMO's gaming relations specialist. Shout out to Sean Frame. Sean, shout out to Sean Frame, brings a commitment to helping viewers achieve their financial goals and has a passion for gaming as an active member of the gaming community. You type !BMO in chat for more details. And then, of course, there's the one that I've been seeing Spaffles do it. Jack, go ahead, Spaffles. Tell us why you keep typing in !raffle.
All right. Well, if you type out !raffle, you have the potential to win 1 of 6 gaming mice that were supplied to CIE by 1 of 0 that can help make you better at what you do. Not scientifically proven, but having a nice new mouse does help lift those spirits. And if anything, mood does have a lot of effect on how you game. So you can go ahead, make sure to type !raffle in CIE_GGS main channel chat for a chance to win 1 of those 6 mice. Code like a maniac, design like a guru, in game like a moderately well-fed assassin. Take pride in your setup and look good while you achieve it all. Discover your inspiration, defy definition, be 1 of 0. So if you want to learn more about this sponsor, you can type !1 of 0 over in the chat.
All right, you heard the man. Type 1 of 0 in the chat. We are going to send it really quickly to, actually, I'm going to ask you a question, then we're going to send it to a short break. And when we get back from the break, we are going to have an interview with TMU Gold, the champions of the CIE League of Legends tournament, a dominant performance. If you want to learn how to be like them, we're going to go ahead and interview them shortly. But who's your MVP and who's your dark horse, Spaffles, of this series?
I don't know. I gotta give a lot of respect onto Salt's name, the kind of characters that they were playing, and with the substitution coming out, how we saw that Aurora that was being piloted by Pricey. It was so good. It was so nice. It was beautiful, right? But I gotta give the MVP over to Yuckchill. I know it's a very generic choice, right? You have your DPS carry, you have your ADC, but to have them be this solid rock and to have them continue to perform throughout all this, I think that proves to me that they deserve to be MVP, because no matter what happened in the early game, they were a dominant force throughout most of these fights. And whether it was, on that Smolder who had a ton of time to scale, or whether it was on the Ashe who from the beginning was constantly fighting and constantly battering their head against a wall, they were an omnipresent force. And I want to give the dark horse, the second most valuable, if you will, over to Arky. Just seeing the amount of damage they were able to do. We looked up the stats in the break, and Orin has a 55% win rate against Mbess. So that might not seem like too much, but when the game is balanced around being 50 to 52% win rate on average, it's a really big swing. And to be able to come out swinging on that Mbessa and then to continue bringing that force forward in the second game, I think that is also very commendable.
I also think it's worth shouting out another ganker. Another ganker was always in the right place at the right time. As a jungler, I was literally watching his performance in awe, thinking, man, how can I do this in my own games? It's worth watching the VOD review back to see what another ganker does. There's a reason that guy is in Grandmaster. It's just always being there for the play. always making stuff happen on the other side of the map, finding those well trades, and like especially in the first game, he put his bot lane so far
Yeah.
ahead off the back of some really, really solid ganks. But we're gonna go ahead and throw it to a short break, and we'll be back to interview your CIE champions. Don't go anywhere. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Romeo with Sapphire still, and you were just talking about how you thought Yuck Chills was one of the MVPs of TMU Gold, and we have him here for a quick interview, a quick celebration now that TMU Gold has won the grand finals and are your Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition League of Legends champions. Talk about a mouthful. How are you doing, Yuck Chill?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great off of
Yep.
a pretty dominant 8-0 win streak to the finals. So I'm feeling great. My team's feeling great. Like we just came off that win. Feels good.
How was how can you walk us through some of those early like the two drafts that we just walked through going into those games? How were the comms and that? What was making you guys ready for UofT Sapphire? What did your like preparation look like going into this grand finals?
So we've played a few times against them in previous like different tournaments. Like we played against them in like CLOL, so we kind of knew some of their players. Like for say like Hollow One, we knew to like just get rid of his Jace because I think we've played against it a few times. We've played against Arky, and you know we wanted to prioritize like just getting our jungler, like another ganker, just like in a comfortable position. Because I think if you've seen through some of our other games, like if he's in like a comfortable position with Salt, they can just run the game through. But yeah, honestly, that's really our position to be in. Like we just really want another ganker to just have like a really good position throughout the game.
All right, pretty nice. And then I have a little bit more of a question that's targeted towards you. So during game one, when you were playing that Ashe Karma bot lane, how did that feel being in a spot where you guys just kept trading for each other? Like, yeah, you were winning some fights, but then the CS, it felt like a really constant push and pull between you two.
So I think I made one mistake there when I shouldn't have fought as much because in theory, like we should just win. Like Seraphine Yunara as a combo does not really like win against Karma Ashe, especially since we have Karma, which is such like a priority pick when we have like such a big skirmisher mid jungle. Like we shouldn't really ever fight there. There is like a few mistakes with that I did. But other than that, like our whole goal of it, and sometimes I like forget to remind myself, is literally just sit there and like just go even, just go scale. Like especially with like this patch or like this current season, like Ashe does like quite a lot of damage, and you can actually like stat check Inara on her, which is like low-key crazy. And if you go hex optics and they're like crit. But yeah, I think it was my bad dying a few times, but mishaps happen.
Hey, it happens.
It is
It's
what it
league. Playing a perfect game is next to impossible. Were there any moments, any big moments within the matches where you were like at all nervous or like wondering how to get back into the game? Like, what's the thought process, especially in like that game two where you guys found yourself up to like 4,000 gold behind at certain points? Were there any moments where you're like, obviously trying to scale back in, but were there any moments where you're like, okay, we really need to get something together here or make a big play or anything along those lines in your comms?
Not really. Like in our comms, we had like a really clear game plan. Like for second game, we were fully expecting to give up both dragons early game, but somehow, like if you're watching, when you guys were watching, like we managed to secure like second drag, even though like we should never be in that position. Like we're waiting on Smolder 225. We shouldn't ever be in a position where we just take the dragon, but all their carries got really low. So I mean, it was a free drag. So I don't think there was ever really position the second game. Like my team was basically calling like a smolder insurance. Like if all goes to shit with like all the like Neferi and Zoe, kind of the explosiveness from them, then we have like a smolder to kind of lay back on and allow us to carry fights. In terms of the first game, we were pretty confident with how everything was going to go. So I don't think there was any really big complications with that.
Yeah, there was a very strong draft from you guys in that first game. That we were looking at that draft thinking, damn, like that is like everything you can dream of in like an opening draft.
I think maybe the only time that we were like a tiny bit worried was when the Neferi got really behind early game in the second game. Like we did have the Smolder and Smolder reliability, but the Neferi going really behind against Wukong was a little bit scary at some points, but because we were kind of looking at the scoreboard and the Wukong was like 7-0 or something with like a huge shutdown. It's pretty hard to play into that champion, especially with their team fight, like engage comp. But we are sticking to a game plan that we were gonna try and not team fight until we got the Smolder 225 or we had like a favorable position.
All right, pretty good. It was really nice talking to you, Yuckchill. Before we, wrap up the rest of the stream, do you have any shout outs, anything to look forward to for the TMU gang?
Shout out to my teammates. Honestly, like just first of all, like I know that you guys don't hear any of the comms, but like if you were to hear the comms, like we're super clear. None of us are, like nervous or anything like that. We're not like talking about random stuff. Especially like shout out to another ganker. Honestly, his micromanaging of like almost our entire team is very strong. He's always telling us where jungler is, when to engage, like where we could look. And just being around it, like it's a really nice environment because I get to kind of have a free, like be able to like freely think about what I should be doing and when I can call out for things. But yeah, just shout out to my entire team playing well. Gotta love it.
All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Thank you so much for the interview, Yuckchill, and congratulations on being your CIE League of Legends champion. I'm sure that's going to feel nice. You're going to get the cash prize and later celebrate with your team.
Yep.
And that's all we got from the League of Legends side. Of course, I believe we have CS2 or Valorant on the other channel, and then CS2. Yeah, CS2 on the other channel, and that's going to be continuing for the next 3 days. Go ahead and get your exclamation mark raffles in the chat. Of course, the draw's on May 9th. And that's everything from us. I was Romeo.
Yep, joined by yours truly, Spaffles. And we've also got to thank you, Yakshil, for jumping in and joining that broadcast. Wish you all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.